Hello, everyone, and welcome to the original Next Level Gaming. I am your one side of the hosting box, Mike Mullis, aka Stinger NLG, and as always, the other side of my co-side, whatever seat. I am too damn tired to talk today.
Co-side.
I don't even know what's going on. Sean, what's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a guy over there in the corner, and then there's another
Yeah.
guy,
And there you go. And
yeah,
then
then there's me.
and then there's you. Oh, our wonderful Warrior Ward Brian is joining us tonight to come in and talk some video games and stuffs. What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm all right. You still digesting those 2 pieces of pizza?
Yeah, they were really good. I haven't had pizza in a while.
And now you need a good smoke. And
Yes, there's something for me.
there will be an actual device for you.
Vape.
The
Right?
vape by
Right.
PlayStation.
That's got to be fake.
That's
Gotta
gotta be. I can't. For those who don't know, Brian tweeted out a link to a Games Press article where Sony has apparently patented a vape cigarette
Bluetooth
and Bluetooth
for PSVR.
I can't even.
Yeah, you can't make that up. That has to be fake.
It has to be. It's on a real site though. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, I
You
don't know.
hope it's fake.
Yeah.
So how's your week been, guys?
Not too bad.
How's your weekends been?
Went by too fast.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll have to.
The pizza was good.
Well, that's good. We had Domino's tonight too. I had their wings. Their wings are good.
Never had them.
They're good. They're actually pretty good. I have to give them credit for their wings.
I had egg whites.
Well, see, you're well on your way to health there, Sean.
I am a healthy person. I can
That's
sit
a
there
switch,
and do.
huh?
I can do
I had
2 hours
pizza. You had
of,
egg whites.
Yeah.
what's up with that? And I don't have the guns you have. I have these little I have noodle arms.
One of you is hitting the gym and the other isn't, so there's a trade-off.
That's the thing. I do the gym. I do like 2 hours of cardio and that's it. I don't.
Oh,
lift.
well, I can't believe that you have, chicken arms then. 2 hours of cardio and no weights.
You gotta see
why
my
that's
leg.
happening. Yeah. It's really strange. Usually I just go in the gym and do like 6 hours of cardio. I never touch a weight, and I just got huge.
If you weren't so big, I'd fight back.
No, it's all what you're into, man. Some people like to do cardio and, stay lean and thin and really light. And other people like the other stuff, that's all.
Yeah. Brian's aspiring to be the Hulk in the next Avengers movie.
Yeah, right.
Not Mark Ruffalo. The Hulk.
No, right.
They're not CGIing this time. They're going back to the 70s.
Either that or the redhead in the Avengers.
The redhead.
What's her name?
Oh, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, there you go. I'm aspiring to be her as well.
If you can flip people around with your legs like that, then you know.
If we change the word "be her" to something else, that's what I'm aspiring to.
Well, now.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can catch her on Twitter.
Yeah, right. I'm sure.
All right. Well, I apologize, guys. I am so dragging ass today.
That's a hell of a way to start a podcast.
Yeah, it really is. I'm exhausted. So if we could keep this one to an hour, I would be very happy.
Yeah,
this was a busy week. I did not get any gaming in this weekend at all.
Well, real life took over, right?
Well, yeah, I do have other things going on. So my band, I had a busy band weekend. So it's been one of those times where I kind of have to concentrate on real life. So gaming takes a back seat, which is nice because real life pays me money, whereas video games doesn't.
Yeah.
So, but gentlemen, there has been a week full of fun and news and things and such. So, we're going to get right on to it, and I'll save the what are you playing for later on towards the end. Okay, so, Microsoft. Once again, the death of Xbox has come up because Microsoft has made some moves within their studios. If you have lived under a rock and you're listening to the podcast and this is your only news source, thank you very much because we're doing something right. But
Oh my God. Hey, I'm sorry.
We're in.
I don't know why I decided to just hit the Twitter app on my phone, and I saw the picture of Fletch. Or is that Fletch?
What?
That's Chevy Chase from Modern Problems.
Yes,
That's
Modern
classic.
Problems. Oh my goodness.
What did I miss?
Okay, I put the tweet out about the vape, the PlayStation branded vape VR thing.
Oh, right.
So somebody decides to send me a retweet that says, "I hear Microsoft is going to counter this with Xbox branded cocaine," and sends me the picture of Chevy Chase with his face covered in white powder from the movie Modern Problems. That would be a great
Who
Twitter pic.
did that?
Wouldn't that be a great pic for a Twitter profile?
Oh, there's your HoloLens right
Yes.
there.
That's an amazing pic. I'm saving that. I'm going to use that somehow, some way,
Oh, wow.
somewhere.
Oh, man. By the way, the chat room is open. And
Jeez.
we already have somebody asking. Hey, Andy is asking our thoughts on Doom. We'll get to Doom in a little bit after we get through all of this,
Yeah.
all these shenanigans. But we can talk about Doom a little later. But I wanted to get to, as I had said before, before Cocaine Chase came
Right.
up.
Cocaine
Microsoft,
Chase.
Doom and gloom, right?
Doom and gloom. Speaking of Doom, Andy had it right. Speaking of Doom, so Microsoft has decided to scuttle a couple of their studios. The most notable one being Lionhead Studios, which of course was working on Fable Legends, and as such, they are bringing They are fatally bringing Fable Legends to a halt. They are ceasing development on it, and for those of us who have been in the beta program, geez, can we start this podcast over? My God, April 13th, the beta is coming to an end, and that's going to be it. So, also, Press Play, makers of Max the Cursor Brotherhood, which I found to be a really good game, and Kalimba, which I did not ever get to play, but I heard very good reviews about, has also been closed. And a couple of more were closed beyond that. I believe their LXP, one of their new development studios, was closed. Big Park, I think, was closed up, and one or two others. And so with this comes the requisite hand-wringing on one side and cries of joy from the other, because, Xbox obviously is dying. Microsoft's putting it out to pasture, and they're concentrating on PC games, and, your Xbox tomorrow is going to explode in a blaze of flurry. So, first I want to get your opinions on scuttling Lionhead and Press Play, because I'll give mine after you guys are done. I'm not terribly happy about it, but Sean, go ahead. Or actually, Brian, go ahead. You're our guest tonight.
Well, the smaller ones were Kinect developers, correct? The ones that were in Lionhead's the big one. Big Park
Lionhead's
did
the big one.
right,
Joyride.
right, which
Yeah, I know.
and then a few others were basically Kinect developers that hadn't really done anything in a while. Hence the whole Kinect not being part of the Xbox One anymore.
Well, yes.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I know that it's strange because they say that they want to push their first-party portfolio and build it up. But I don't see how then taking a developer like Lionhead and just saying we're just going to, squash what you've been doing and you're done. There has to be something on the other side of this. There has to be a good side to the coin that we haven't seen yet that's going to flip around and then you're going to say, aha, that's why it happened. So maybe that's that's my whole take on it. Maybe we just haven't heard enough yet as to why this is happening or why it happened, or maybe there's a plan. Or I would hope that there's something on the other side of just saying that one of the first-party games that we actually invest in for our platform, a la Halo, Gears, Forza, and that's about it first-party wise, right? Crackdown is Remedy, and I'm sorry, Quantum Break is
Remedy.
Remedy, and Crackdown is not first-party, correct? They're not owned by Microsoft.
The studios are not, but the IPs are.
Okay.
So they're
basically second-party, right? So they're going from it seems like they're going from building up their first-party portfolio, like Phil Spencer had said, to kind of maybe just leaning on second-party now.
That's possible.
I mean, that was a question. It wasn't a statement. Like, do you think that's what? Yeah.
Well, I think that they can spend less money that way, and perhaps in the same time continue. They have a. I think they've had an issue with third-party. I'd say their third-party relationships are not what they used to be. They're not as strong. Because they're not, obviously Sony's getting a lot of deals that they wouldn't have gotten last generation.
Right.
And while I think some of that has to do with where the two consoles are in their respective sales positions, I also think that there's a disparity
There you go.
I'm really sorry, guys. This is just weird for me. There's a disparity with their third-party relationships that they just didn't have when Peter Moore was in charge of that kind of thing. And so I think that second-party can be their way of kind of making that up. Remedy making games for Microsoft with their IPs. Gives them an opportunity to stay friendly with Remedy. Having Insomniac do a second-party game that Microsoft publishes, even though, and in this case, we know Insomniac owned the IP to Sunset Overdrive, it still gives them a friend, another friend in the industry that they could go back to make another game in the future. And maybe that's what they think, and they probably don't have to spend as much money on the studio itself, but I think that and Sean, go ahead and jump in on this. I think for me, I'm not sure if the studio is as important as the IP, and we'll find that out with Quantum Break and with especially with Crackdown and Scalebound, another second-party game. But go ahead and jump in here on this, Sean, because. Tell me what you think, and answer Brian's question too.
Okay. To me, I think, and this goes back to all this news about Microsoft, and everybody's making a bunch of negative comments, and you look online, it's a ton of negativity towards Microsoft. I think they're tightening up the ship, and I think that there's still stuff that we don't even know about that's probably going to be announced in the next couple of months, especially at E3. I think that they're going to try to cut back on Connect.
Connect is dead. Let's call that what it is.
And I don't think there's any cutting back. I think it's done.
It's done. It's dead. It's gone. It's a good thing. It's a good thing it still does voice commands. I'm waiting for Microsoft to pull those out of the new UI.
But I think that a lot of the negative coverage is just, I don't know. It's just, look, they're cutting back on studios. They're shutting down studios. I think it's just, once again, negative media trying to pinpoint stuff and find anything that's negative towards Microsoft to just make them look bad. That's just how the press in general is these days. I look at it as a positive thing. I think that they're going to, like I said, I think they're going to announce newer stuff. I just see it as them tightening the ship, and a lot of companies do it. Sony, for instance, they've done it for, they do it all the time. They'll sit there and they'll announce games at E3 and you never see them again. Same with Nintendo. I don't know. I just don't understand why there's so much negativity in the press in terms of gaming, it's just it needs to.
Well, what press are you using? That's the thing. Are you talking about going on Twitter and seeing it, or?
You can go anywhere online. Like I subscribe to a ton of people on YouTube, and when you log into YouTube, you'll see these videos. Microsoft,
Well, yes.
It's just come on, Well,
I would use non-traditional news or press to get gaming news. I wouldn't use YouTube or GameSpot or IGN or anything like that if you don't want to see stuff that's hit driven, because that's what's making the money.
Yeah, if you go to
somebody,
I would use the Next Level Gaming Twitter feed.
You have to find somebody that doesn't have any skin in the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's the problem. Sites like N4G.com, if you've ever been to that site, I hate to give them a plug, but there are so many voices out there. If you have your own blog, they're considered press now.
Right.
And you have these little fanboys who
I don't go to them, yeah. I don't.
And that's all you see. You go to them sites, something that's hot that people are commenting on. They're always at the top, and it's always negative stuff. And it's just like, come on, dude. You know what? Just play the games. Play the games.
Do you still go to those sites?
No. I go to the original Next Level Gaming Twitter feed for my news.
And I wonder what that feed would be. I wonder what you can do on Twitter to get there. I wonder what that Twitter name is.
Now, see, you notice I will not plug my website. I don't care if you come to my website.
I plug it for you.
I'm the kind of person, I do it just because I'm a gamer. And
but let's be honest, your site is fantastic. I mean,
I post when I want to post. That's
but that's the beauty of it. But your posts are also, I mean, there is no
IGO is lazy.
And it's all Nintendo. That's what he won't tell you. It's all Nintendo.
It's sometimes PlayStation, sometimes Microsoft.
So I do want to bring something up since you mentioned this, and it is interesting to note what these development studios have been working on, and let's say since the Xbox One was released, for example. The most active of them actually was Press Play. Press Play had already put out a game at launch, Max the Curse of Brotherhood, which was a smaller game. It wasn't, I mean, we're not talking about a AAA title by any means, but still highly enjoyable. I will always recommend that game for people who want something different.
Loved it.
But beyond, they had Kalimba, which was that
was strange. That was a strange follow-up. They actually let fans vote on what their next game would be, and I think that got a high vote.
Project Knoxville was their next one that they were actively working on. So they actually had not only a game in the hopper, but they had already put 2 games out.
Yeah.
Now, Lionhead was really only working on Fable Legends, and I think that we have to remember too that Peter Molyneux is not part of that studio anymore. Mm-hmm. A lot of Lionhead studio guys are not there anymore.
When you look at Milo and you throw a ball at Milo and he throws the ball back, you reach out to catch the ball even though the ball isn't coming from the television set. That's how interactive Milo is. I had to do that. Do you remember that? I watched it and I thought, and the lady looks into the camera and she's a reflection in the water and waves her hand and look at Milo react to the lady.
Milo, yes.
I thought this is not going to happen.
I'm handing Milo a piece of paper. He's going to do his homework now.
Yes.
But if you remember, well, if you remember, he went so far with this crazy vision. He went to TED and did a TED talk on Milo. I mean, he was like all in, and then he left.
Yep.
And then he left. Then he walked out of Lionhead.
Yeah.
Said, you know what?
Sorry, guys. I'm going to vape.
Right.
Vape.
Right. So Lionhead had Fable going on.
Yeah.
And that was about it. Some of the other, we talked about Big Park, and they did Joyride. Well, that was really it. I mean, they had nothing in the hopper. LXP, I'm not even sure was a real studio. I mean, there wasn't anything coming out of it.
So were these were all owned by Microsoft, correct?
Yes,
Okay. So whose job is it to get them motivated to start making games? Is it their job to pitch them to Microsoft if they're owned by Microsoft?
yes. So what happens is now, no, and let me back up. This is how Phil Harrison and Phil Spencer have put it, and Phil has sort of put it that way. Phil Harrison put it that way in the Europe side, and so did Kudo Tsunoda when he was taking over some of that before they moved him over to HoloLens. The development studios would pitch ideas to Microsoft for Microsoft to look at and approve. There were exceptions, like Phil Spencer when he bought Gears of War from Epic, went to Black Tusk at the time and said, "You want to work on whatever it is you're working on now, or do you want to work on Gears of War?" And they all said, "Gears of War, thank you." And sometimes that's the way it comes down. Rare, beyond Rare Replay, I mean, Sea of Thieves was not Phil Spencer's idea. Apparently, Sea of Thieves was the brainchild of the guy who's running Rare right now, and that was like his big baby. And so Phil said, "Let's do it." So I think that they do have to pitch games to these guys, and if they don't, you know, Good Science Studio, LXP, Function Studios, Big Park, none of these guys had anything in the hopper. So eh, at the moment, they're just spending money on staff. So we're never going to know exactly why they shut down. We're never going to really know what happened within Lionhead, but typically, if you're not producing at least a game in the 2 years that your next gen console is out there, there's a good chance you're not safe. Um, so where they go from there, I don't know. Now, the one thing I will say, and I was looking at it, and somebody had pointed it out the other day, they had pulled everybody out of the Microsoft Studios website. However, Lionhead remains in there. In fact, it was put back in after it was taken out. And if you check Lionhead's site, they're still talking about Fable Legends. Now, I don't think this means anything, but everybody else is gone. Everybody else that they scuttled, Press Play's not in there, LXP's not in there, Lionhead still is. Now couple that with, and I know you guys saw this, and I know this was a wonderful time to be in the gaming community. Sony held a job fair for Lionhead employees to bring them into their various their studios, which drove everybody nuts.
Well, there were a lot of people that did that. Sony was one
There
of them.
were.
Right.
Sony was one, but Sony advertised it on Twitter. But Microsoft said,
Yeah.
that they were also, extending and trying to figure out where to place people. I'm sure some people went to other Microsoft divisions if they so wanted to.
Sure.
Rare was hiring for Sea of Thieves and for other things, so maybe some people went to Rare. You never know. But yeah, that threw everybody into a tizzy.
Yeah, I just think there might have to be. I don't know. Maybe we'll hear. All these consolidations mean that they're making room, and they're freeing up funds for a major purchase of a studio to make their first party a little bit stronger, because they did talk about first party as opposed to just leading with second party.
Remedy?
So maybe we'll hear something. Yeah, maybe we'll hear something like that at E3. But there has to be. I mean, there doesn't have to be, but for me, I'm thinking maybe there's. Right now we're only seeing one side of a coin, and depending on how you look at it, it's kind of okay or it's kind of not okay. But there has to be another side to this. I don't see them just saying, "Hey, Lionhead, goodbye," or let's just get rid of this studio that's been making this exclusive role-playing game. Now, whether or not Fable has been selling well over the years, I don't know. I think it's a fantastic RPG. I've loved every single one of them, and I love Lionhead. So there has to be a positive to this somewhere down the line, and I'm thinking that line ends at E3.
It has to. Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I wasn't one who had the pleasure or privilege to play the beta, but being somebody who, I mean, I played Fable on Xbox and Fable 2 and 3 on Xbox 360. It's sad that they're closing. I don't know. I hope that something comes up, but I'm just kind of like, I'm on pause for now until E3 comes, because who knows what's going to happen at E3.
True. Yeah, there is a lot of strange decisions going on. A lot of strange things happening. You know, I could see why some people get upset. I mean, I don't know why you would worry about a company that's got more money than a small country, but like I said, there has to be. I mean, these things they don't just happen because, it's not like they just wake up and say, let's get rid of Lionhead. The hell with it. We don't need any more first-party production. So there has to be a reason. Or you would think that there would be, right? I don't want to say there has to be and then nothing happens, but
maybe it's because of Milo and Kate.
Yes, it could be Milo and Kate.
I don't know. The thing about Fable Legends, and I'm still waiting for any kind of confirmation that they're going to drop their NDA. So far, word is that the NDA will be in effect until the beta's gone, but I can't understand why. It's a game that's not coming out, so why not let us who have beta tested it? I mean, I've been beta testing it for almost a year, which is, let's somewhat, look at reality. The game's been in beta test for a year and still hasn't come with its open beta yet. That was, so the game has been sucking up funds, and it's a free-to-play game. I do wish that we'd get a chance to show it off, because I really felt like Fable Legends was going to be something that would take people by surprise. I think people, there's been this aura about it that, well, it's not really Fable. It's not a mainline Fable game, and so it's going to suck. It's going to be horrible. It's not really Fable. I want another mainline Fable. But the game had a charm to it. Now, it's also because I'm older, and I remember, and all three of us remember games like Phantasy Star Online, right?
Yeah.
That's what that game, and I've said this before, that's what that game reminded me of. Where Albion, Bright Lodge, or whatever I think it was called Bright Lodge, was the main hub. Was a place for you to go around and to do things, and then you could, get your guild together, your group together, and then go out on the missions and everything. And it was like, more of an action RPG than a straight up RPG. And I think that because people were expecting something else, maybe there was a sense that they wouldn't be able to make back enough in microtransactions and things, because they did have to make some money off of it, so they were going to sell gold in which you could buy things. But they also said flat out, you didn't have to. If you did enough grinding, you'd be able to unlock everything in the game, including all your characters and stuff. So at some point, maybe somebody looked at the numbers and said, we're not going to make back what we've put into it development-wise. And that could have been a big reason for scuttling the game. And since everybody in the studio was pretty much working on that game, maybe it just didn't make sense to keep the studio open to start another Fable game that might have taken another 2 to 3 years to come out.
I actually want to say something, because I'm not a fan of mobile games, and there's a reason why I'm talking about mobile games. A lot of mobile games are free to play, and everybody's like, free to play games are so great. Free to play. This is what you got to do. You got to get into free to play. This is right here is why I am not a fan of free to play games, because if your game has issues and your game just doesn't sell, you're screwed.
Well, I think when you talk about free to play, you have to talk about the size of a budget for a game as well. Free to play works on mobile because the cost of developing games on mobile genuinely, generally is lower than the cost of development for, say, a console, AAA, AA. So, something like Fable, I don't know. I just never thought that was a good model for a game that's already established as being this big AAA role-playing game. It's kind of hard to sort of mold the audience from being, expecting one thing to sort of accepting what you're giving them now. Now, Mike, what you said about you don't know why, if the game is canceled, why is the NDA still in effect? Why can't you show anything? There's a very good reason that maybe that's happening, because maybe all of the assets and all of the engine that was used to make that game is being rolled into another project that we haven't heard about yet, that we may hear about at E3. Maybe it is that Fable game that everybody wanted.
Well, and I get that. I mean, I wish Microsoft would have pushed through with this before they closed it. I wish they would have finished it. I wish they would have given it a chance to get out into the open where people could have seen it. I think that.
How do you think they could have recouped their money then, if everything was able to be beaten without purchasing anything in a free-to-play game with the budget that it had?
I don't know. I mean, but you went this far. Why not open it up?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what they did. Maybe they thought, like you said, we came all this way, and all of a sudden we're like, this budget is astronomical, and you're saying that somebody can buy this game and beat it without making any other additional expenditures? How the hell are we going to make our money back? Because everybody's just going to buy it, not going to buy anything. They're just going to grind through.
Yeah.
And so what would be the point of spending? Let's say, how much do you think Fable Legends cost at this point? I mean, it's got to be in the millions, right?
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a strange, like you were saying, the model for free to play. You have to really start and end with, the model for free to play, and I don't think it's the AAA model, based on the amount of money that you got to spend to develop a game.
Yeah, and when's the last time you've seen a really I don't play free to play stuff, but when's the last time you've seen a really, really successful free to play game on a console?
Well, there's smaller ones, right? Isn't
Smite?
I was going to say Smite is free to play, right?
World of Tanks.
World of Tanks. Yeah, they're smaller. I mean, they're not Fable Legend budget games.
No, World of Tanks is not small budget at all.
It isn't?
No, and they've made a lot of. But to be fair, they've made a lot of money. They made a lot of money on the PC side before they ever brought their stuff out to console. Because remember, the first.
I don't mean the money they're making. I mean the money they spent to make the game before they released it.
I don't think it's like it's not like Quantum Break money, but
right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's a free to play model. It's probably they knew how much they're going to spend to make the game versus making it free to play.
Right. No, I understand that. I understand that now. I think it probably was not as big a budget as Fable Legends. I think Fable Legends probably came with a big budget. I don't know what that budget is.
It's sad because that money's just pretty much flushed down the toilet now.
No. See, I don't think I don't think that anybody could afford to let that happen. I think that the assets that were developed for this game are going to be used somewhere else.
I hope so.
They almost have to be, because of that money, like you said. There's no way they're just going to say, "Oh well, let it go. Goodbye. We wasted the money." I just don't see how they can afford to even let that happen.
Well, sure Microsoft can. It's sunk money.
Well, they still have a budget though. It's not like the Xbox is the Microsoft corporation. They still have a budget. They're still one segment of Microsoft. So I don't know if they're just going to let that money just go.
Well, I think they may not have gotten maybe they looked at their forecast and maybe they're taking what's left of that forecast and I would imagine they're shuffling it to some other part of their studio.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Brian, John, my friend from Super Deforms Gamescast, he's got a really good channel of his own. He says he's a fan of yours.
A fan of who?
Of you.
Of me?
Yes.
Why would you be a fan of me?
We are all fans.
We are all fans of the Worry Ward. Are you kidding?
Oh boy.
You're the coffee cup contemplations.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. These are.
Hey, I'm a fan of your YouTube, man. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have picked up that game on the PlayStation 4, Colot. Which
how do you like that? Yeah.
I love the game.
It's different, isn't it? I really do. I love games like that.
Yeah.
People make fun of me. They call them walking simulators, like,
This ain't no walking simulator, though.
Yeah.
I just don't think people get it because the game's been getting pounded in reviews. But
well, yeah, it did when it came out on PC as well. But I don't.
I think you got to use your mind with this game, and most they don't want to use their mind these days. Yeah. They just want to shoot.
So wait a minute, I have to walk around and figure things out.
What are these coordinates?
Right.
So see, you provide a service.
Nah.
Yes.
I'm at my wit's end with this stuff.
Well, we're going to get to that in a little bit. I'm sure. You know what? I almost want to bring John in for that conversation because I sees it too.
My only complaint about the Worry Wart is you need a camera, man. Even if it's just on your biceps, dude. Just get a camera.
This is getting really creepy. I just want to throw that out there. It's getting a little creepy. There are other parts of me, not just the biceps.
All right, now it's getting creepy.
Yeah, right? I figured I'd go all the way. Why not just take it all the way?
You just made a creepy situation creepier.
That's right. You can't creak the door open. I'm going to kick it open.
So, you guys playing a Division?
Yeah.
All right, so I think I don't know if we've accomplished anything with the Lionhead and Press play closing, but
well, we got to some points.
We did, I think so. So, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm gonna get John to pop in here because there's a couple things that I know he's been playing the Division, and I know he's got some. Him and I talk about the community on our,
Division, aka Destiny, the way it was meant to be.
Well, yes. So, John, give me a second. I am about to tweet you the link. So while we're doing that, so the thing that and I wanted to come back to this real quick. The thing that kind of bugs me when all this stuff happens, and it kind of bleeds a little bit into the community, is that I'm overtly tired of this is the end of Xbox crap. I don't know how we get to that. I don't know how that between that. So this is. Let me adjust my chair here because I'm about to get on a soapbox.
Well, let me tell you a story real fast before you get on the soapbox.
Oh, please do.
I think that if you don't, Twitter is the issue. If you stay off of Twitter for a while, I think you're going to have a much different outlook on things because the general public, and this is the story I'm trying to tell you. I went to a birthday party, and my nephew, he's 11. He has friends over, and I hear them all talking about video games, and I'm like the really creepy old uncle, so I have to sit off in the corner, and I don't want to go over and let them know that I play video games, and they just look at me like there's something wrong with me. But I'm listening, and they're talking about all these games, and they're all talking about, playing the game. And the one kid says, I have my Xbox, and I'm playing here. The other guy has an Xbox, and they're all talking. And I'm listening, and I don't hear anything at all about what you usually hear about. This is dying, that's dying, this game got canceled, this got canceled. Do you know about how much money this studio lost? Nobody cares about any of that stuff. These are kids just playing video games. And
when you go into Best Buy, you don't see that as part of the advertising.
Right. So I think it depends on...
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Oh, there he is.
Outstanding. You're not going to get my handsome face on the camera tonight because I am actually playing the Division as we speak.
Ah. Well, we're getting a blank black screen.
Well,
Which
good.
probably is
I
still
think you need
part
to
of
turn
your
them up, Mike.
is probably still part of your mood from being in training.
I'm definitely not a fan of being here. No,
Yeah, I know. So I want to welcome in. He is John from the Super Deformed Gamescast. He's a good guy. He's got a very good channel, very good podcast on Thursday nights, and welcome on in, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Not a problem. You came in at the right time. We were kind of just. All right, but I'm gonna turn you. You got to turn your division down a little bit.
You got it.
We're getting cross traffic with your.
Hold on a second. I'll turn it down for you. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna mute him for a second until he gets back. So now,
Yeah,
John,
I think it just depends on where you go to get your information. You know, you just have to. You have to
Just shut off social media.
You have to kind of decide for yourself what's healthy and what isn't healthy.
no, you do. And you know when you walk into Best Buy, when you walk into Target, or none of that stuff is on the advertising. You know, you're not going to see. You're just not going to see any of it. You're not going to see, well, did you know that Microsoft shut down Lionhead Studio? You're not, like it's not, this isn't politics. Sony's not making ads. Did you know Lionhead Studio is closing? Buy our product.
They're going to make another video. This is how you close a studio.
See, another issue is you really don't have to go and look for bad news. Like, I'll give you two examples. Like I said, I have a lot of I subscribe to a lot of people on YouTube, and if you log on to YouTube, something will pop up, something anti about Nintendo or something anti about Microsoft, and bing, okay, a Microsoft-owned product. When you look at certain things, Microsoft or Xbox is one of the things that I usually look up. When you log on to Bing, you'll see these little news feeds at the bottom, and the other day I logged in and there's something negative about Microsoft. And it's like, you don't really have to go and look for it. It's like, what the hell? You just log in and just surf the net.
So you're just upset that you see it.
Yeah, and I think that it just
you're gonna have a rough life.
It causes negativity within the community because, and like I said, it's the media.
Oh,
I have to blame the media because
you sound like somebody I know.
It's clicks. Negativity sells.
It kind of does.
Yeah, but you know what? You have the power. It's not the article that has the power. If you decide to let it affect you, if you decide to let it affect you and you decide to click on it, you're giving them what they want. So you have the power. They don't have that power over you. If you feed into it by clicking it or by looking at it or by letting it affect you, then that's what they want, positive or negative. They don't care.
My issue is this. Now, I'm part of the media, and I guess in a way we all are. And when you write something positive, the sad thing is there's probably a million articles out there that's just mega positive, great articles, and they're pushed below because of all this negative crap. And these people who write their hearts out with these articles saying how they love this game or they love that game or they love this company or they just love gaming in general, they're at the bottom because of all these people posting negative stuff, and they just keep going up because people want to click on it. And that's the world we live in now. And it's not just gaming, it's just in general, everything. It's just life. It's sad.
It kind of is.
Making me sad, man.
Just to be clear, at the end of this podcast, you're not going to offer anyone Kool-Aid, are you?
I think I might.
Yeah.
All right, John, I think I got you unmuted again. Are you there? All right, we don't have John yet.
I like your Jim Jones reference. That's pretty cool.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
Everything's bad. Everything's negative.
Yes.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're. I'm sorry. All right.
No, I'm just tired of hearing negative stuff.
I would just take a break from it, to be honest with you. Don't if that kind of stuff is affecting you that way, then
it doesn't. It doesn't affect me. I just look at the. I just think that it's. I don't know. It just gets
It's
old.
not the way it was.
Yeah, I
say
think
that
I'm
every
still
day.
stuck. I'm still
And I
stuck in
think-
the '80s,
right.
I guess.
And I swear I think that the way to resolve that is for me anyway, is to go back to getting magazines, reading them when they come in the mail, getting excited when they come, and I come home and they're there, and reading them, and then going on to sites that I know I like to go to, getting some news, and then that's it. That's the solution. Yeah,
Yep.
we hear you.
I think another thing is I think I'm just too old. I think
Yeah,
I'm getting old.
that's another
and
one. That's what I was going to say next.
That's why this weekend I locked myself in a room and played in television. So,
Oh God.
All right, something is going on here with John. It shows him not muted, but he says he's muted.
I can hear him.
I cannot. I can't hear
I
him at
can't
all.
hear him.
You can hear him?
I can't hear him.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
that's
said he's going to drop and come right back in. I just heard him say that.
okay. All right, because I can't hear him at all. Hold on. Let me hang on. John, say something now.
Can you hear anything?
Yeah, hang on. Here we go. Try again.
Yep, I'm here.
All right, I turned you up.
Yeah, you have to
there
turn
we
him
go.
up. He's pretty low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. I got it.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
All
Here
right,
we go.
John, welcome in, brother. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right, man. Just playing. I'm playing the Division, so I promise you, I will not get too distracted. So.
No problem. Actually, it's perfect timing because that's our next topic, and the Division. So I think all of us have the Division, right?
Yes.
Sean, you picked it up.
I have
Yeah,
it
I got
on PS4 because I'm a pony.
I got it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I picked it up for both systems.
Wow,
Nice.
I roll it.
Yeah, well, Sean, big man on campus.
We actually gave away a copy on PS4 last week, so that was pretty cool.
That was.
I am actually really enjoying it. So far, this game is everything that I feel Destiny should have been when it
I'm hearing that
launched.
a lot. I'm hearing that, and
Oh,
I'll
well-
tell you what. I've heard that pre-release too. That this was the game that Destiny was supposed to be, and a lot of Destiny players were going to move over to it.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. I think the most interesting aspect about the Division versus Destiny is that Ubisoft, Ubisoft gets a lot of hate, rightfully or wrongfully. But I think one thing that Ubisoft really, really succeeded at was, this doesn't just speak to Ubisoft, but this also speaks to, Bungie as well. And the fact this is New York as it exists here is far more interesting than fucking outer space and aliens, and I think that's quite an accomplishment. But I can't figure out if that's a big positive for Ubisoft or a big negative for Bungie. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what the Division needs is zombies.
No, it doesn't. No, get that fucking trash out of here. Keep that fucking trash. Somebody.
Oh, well, that's right. I forgot. With John comes cursing. Welcome to the After Hours NLG podcast.
All right.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, watch your
If
fucking
this is-
language, man.
If this is your first time, Mike is a little girl, and he doesn't
Yeah,
like it. He doesn't like it when I swear.
Really? There's
I'm
that
a U.S.
eject-
Marine.
oh,
I'm a
Jesus.
U.S. Marine. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
It's all right, and of course we
Uh-oh.
thank you for your service.
I'll try to tuck it back.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Remember, Mikey Barra says it was fine, so therefore it's good.
That's true. That is true.
So,
I'm
and
gonna sub him now just because he cussed. I gotta do it, man.
and look who else is joining us direct from the green room.
We are deep tonight.
Deep.
Oh,
Deep.
Enrique.
We are. This is what is this? 5-man chat. 5-man chat on the
Elbow
chat.
deep.
Yes.
What's up, Enrique?
What's up, gentlemen?
I just want to point out that I will be guesting on Enrique's podcast on Tuesday.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So
John, yes.
I will be
Sean
guessing
will
as
be there
well.
too. Yeah.
And I believe I am going to be there. So far, so good.
It's a preview of Tuesday.
Yeah, I know.
This is a
Right?
preview
Yeah.
too.
Basically the same. Brian, are you going to be on there?
When is this?
Tuesday.
Tuesday when?
Thursday.
Well, you have to
9 p-
understand. You have to understand. With Enrique, Tuesday could mean Thursday, 11 o'clock at night.
No, no.
It could
Tuesday,
mean
the same time.
2017.
The same time we go on every Tuesday, 9 p.m.
Okay.
Well, this week we're on Sunday, but that's
Yeah.
a special case. This is not our all the time thing. All right, so back to the division. So everybody in the room has it. So I'm
Yep.
going to start down the line. We'll start with our three guests. Brian, give us your take. So we got John's take a little bit. Brian, what's your take on what we've played so far?
It's much better than a Destiny. However, you need to play. Again, it's either a positive or a negative. If you need to play with people, that could be a positive. But if you're a solo gameplay type of person, it could be a negative. I like playing solo. A lot of the games so far I've played by myself, but I have played with other people. It's definitely a game that you need to play with people, whether or not that's a positive or a negative. Depends on what type of gamer that you are. But the graphics, the gameplay, one of the things that I think doesn't even get talked about, and it should, is the cover system, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
In the game. They deserve a lot of credit for just getting that right out of the gate in the shooter.
Put Gears of War aside for a second. Do any of you, Sean, you might, because we covered it on the NLG site long ago. Any of you guys remember a PS2 game called Kill Switch?
Oh,
hell
God,
yeah.
yes.
Kill Switch
Yeah.
is the shit.
Yeah.
That to
Yeah.
me, and I think I had put up some Throwback
man.
Thursday pictures up on the NLG Twitter. That was like one of my first real cover shooters
It was
I ever
great.
played. And it was that the Division kind of reminds me of that.
I think Cliffy B actually referenced that when he talked about the original Gears when it came to cover systems. That game, Kill Switch. But yeah, the cover system in the Division is just phenomenal. Really, really, really good. Graphically, there's not a lot that you can pick out of this game and say is bad. I can't really think of anything at this point other than the subjective argument that you need to play with people to get the best experience.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, that is very. I mean, I feel like that's very much dependent on the individual, though.
Yeah, subjective.
Yeah. I mean, it's I can do both. I mean, obviously there are activities in the game where you need a full party, like doing the big, I guess the equivalent of Destiny Strikes, or
Yeah.
the Dark Zone is much more amenable if you have a full party. But also, I have fun just running around and exploring New York.
Mm-hmm.
So
There is that. There is that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people who are creating multiple accounts because they're getting one character leveled up and leveled up and leveled up. Then they've got an alt character to play with us lower peons that haven't played as much yet. So I mean I just haven't put as much time in as you guys in because real life kind of takes over for me this week. But this was a bad weekend for a game to launch for me. But what I've been able to get through has been really good, and to Worry's point about playing with other people, I think you guys all know I'm a campaign guy too. I don't play a lot of competitive multiplayer, but in a game like this, where you can join up with a number of people to go through the campaign, that's a strong point for me.
Someone's got their vibrator on.
yeah, I don't know what that was. That was weird.
Oh, but that's not a call. That's not a call.
Was that
to
Enrique?
That was not me worrying.
So,
What is that?
What is that?
What
don't
is that
know.
shit?
It's someone's phone vibrating.
That's what it sounds like. Someone's
It
phone.
does sound like are you being called to active duty, John?
I might be. It's possible.
Oy.
Uh-oh.
It is my phone. Holy shit! Let me fix that. Shut up.
Contrary to popular belief, it was not my vibrator.
All right, there you go.
All
so
right,
Vibrate should be off now.
all right,
Ruin all my fun.
all right, Enrique, you've been playing it.
I really like the game. Comparing it to Destiny, I will say that I'm enjoying it more than Destiny because you actually get drops that you can actually use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That to me is the biggest difference between the two games. You know, Destiny, you'd go to the Cryptarch, you expect to get something grand from a purple drop, and he'd hand you a lump of shit. Excuse me, it's a piece of, lump of crap, and
You may as
you'd be
well
on your
just go for it. John's here.
way. Okay,
Yep.
well.
Because I guarantee you I'm going to swear again. So.
We're here. When you get drops, you can actually use them, and it's nice. You can actually, explore and shoot people and get drops and use these drops, and that wasn't the case with Destiny. And there's actually a story in this too, which is nice. You get a little bit of a little bit of insight into what happened to New York prior to stepping into the game. So I like it, and the only complaint I probably have though is maybe that you can unload a clip on some of the enemies and it'll go down, but that's probably the only complaint that I have. But other than that, the AI is great. The AI is pretty smart. You can lob a grenade, they won't stand there and just take it. They'll run. Sometimes they'll try to outflank you. That's happened to me a couple times. But I'm enjoying it. I think it's great.
I have noticed that there is a little bit of bullet sponginess to it.
Yeah.
But, however, they do place a nice premium on headshots. So
They do.
You can take out somebody if you've got a nice carbine, one of those nice rifles.
Yeah.
You
Carbine
can
too.
you can one hit some of those guys if you're good enough.
Yeah. Worry's a mean sniper in the game. He's good.
I just get lucky that night we were playing. That's all.
Oh, you were on fire.
Well, and see, it's really cool to be able to jump in and out of games and groups and stuff like that, and to be able to get to a point to where you could be in a mission and need help, and call in some backup and get somebody to come in and help you if you're stuck. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I like that when we were. I haven't seen this yet because I haven't gotten as far as the Dark Zone. But I remember in the Dark Zone in the beta, you just go in there and it's almost like, I know there's matchmaking in the game, but the Dark Zone is almost like its own matchmaking area where you have to roll the dice to figure out if you're going to walk up to somebody and they're not going to shoot you in the head, and they want to actually go on missions with you. So there's multiple ways to do matchmaking in the game, and I agree with John. The way they did New York, it's really well done. I mean, graphically, the game is
Gorgeous.
It
Gorgeous.
is.
Yeah, it is.
I think it meets. Of course, and this is something that if you haven't been watching game development for eons, you look at the original video, which was obviously, when it was debuted, was done on a high-end PC. Obviously, the final versions don't look like the original, flash reel that they show you. But this game came out, I'd say, at least 90% of what we saw at the outset.
Mhm.
And I don't know what the engine is. I don't know what they used for it. I don't really care. It's a really good looking game.
Well, and to expand on something that you said, Mike, about matchmaking, after the Division, there's absolutely no excuse for Bungie to not have matchmaking in every aspect of its multiplayer functions. I mean, you still can't matchmake for Nightfalls. You still can't matchmake for raids, and yeah, what's interesting is that you can see very clearly that UbiSoft saw all the failings of Destiny. It's obvious they watched that game very closely, and they learned. They listened to player feedback, and you can tell the lessons they learned from Bungie. I think that's a really interesting thing to kind of see in action.
I think they might have learned lessons from their own failings as well. I mean, I remember Unity trying to be that co-op super title of theirs, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah.
They needed to be very careful with the Division because there was for them. I mean, it almost felt like there was more than just this game riding on its success. Brian, you were starting to jump in.
I was agreeing with you when you said it.
Okay, but I mean, look at and look, to their credit, look at the success that the game's had. This is now their single best-selling
Game
uh,
ever.
game,
Yeah.
right, in 24
Well,
hours.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for the first 24 hours, I guarantee you, this will become the second biggest new IP launch after Destiny. And honestly, I think the division will have legs, and I think it will end up being a major competitor to Destiny. I truly do. There's a lot on offer here, and I mean, I for one prefer the division already, just because I'm more partial to third-person cover shooters than first-person games.
Well, and it's more realistic. I mean, not that it's, obviously we're talking about the, a fake scenario, but as far as you're not shooting aliens, you're not
Yeah.
flying around the planets. I mean, you're grounded in a real city, and it's a real city. It's not,
Yeah.
we're not in a fake made up town. We're actually in New York.
Well, you guys know about the incursions that are coming next month too, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that is going to, so 8-man teams, very similar to Rage. The first one is on Rikers Island, which I think is really exciting.
Wow. An 8-man. I think 8-man teams is. The 4-man teams are nice, but I would like to see those expanded. There were a couple people, Brian and Enrique and I were playing with Azrael, and there were a couple people on the map that I know they had messaged me, hey, let me know if I can jump in. But we had 4 people, and I couldn't invite them to the group.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that expanded, maybe beyond just the incursions.
Now, we talked all this positive stuff about the division, and I think it is a excellent game and better than Destiny in every way. However, there are things that I would like to see improved, and I think 2 of them is one. I would like to see a boss mechanic other than boss has a big bullet sponge all around him, and he walks around and you kill him. I would like to see some more varied boss mechanics, maybe. I think the Taken King did a really good job with doing some really interesting stuff with in regards to its boss fights.
Yeah. See, that could be a limitation of being grounded in reality versus Destiny being grounded in fantasy.
I agree with you, and I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I do. I think that's something. I think that's it's not a big deal, but it would be. And also, I'm really surprised that there is no, true player versus player, team deathmatch style stuff. I think aside from the Dark Zone, I think a game like this would be right for something like that.
I kind of like not having it, and I think the Dark Zone for me, because I think every other game has it. Like if you really want team deathmatch, go play Call of Duty, and it could just be that this is different enough for me that I could do without it because of the other mechanics that come in. I think the advent of walking into the Dark Zone not knowing who is your friend and who isn't.
Yeah. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Well, I'm getting a little lag, by the way. So if I cut anybody off, I do apologize.
Oh, no problem. I think that when you go into the Dark Zone, you don't know.
Speaking of the division.
Yeah. We can hear it. But I mean, when you walk in and you walk up to a group of people and you have no idea if they're going to shoot you
you don't.
or ask you to join them. And I've had instances where in the beta where I was shooting, at an actual bad guy as part of the mission, and some guy walked in my way, and I accidentally shot him, and I became hostile, and everybody turned their guns on me and blew me away. So there's such volatility in the Dark Zone that it kind of gives you a different version of multiplayer. Like you could be partnered up with somebody, and they can shoot you in the back and take your stuff. So it has an element that I think maybe can be more of an interesting multiplayer than just your standard team deathmatch, capture the flag, things like that. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I've actually heard of people policing the Dark Zone, like higher ranked players.
Boy.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, they will actually police people from taking out lower ranked individuals. I've seen. I don't know if that's true. I haven't I haven't been to Dark Zone yet, but that's what I was hearing.
Yeah, see, I'm not. This is what turns me off from multiplayer games like that, because you're really at the will of, whoever these people are in this zone. Are people going to play it the way that I think Ubisoft wants it to be played, and wants people to sort of team up and work together, or are you just going to get those people that, again, standing in doorways blocking people from going in and out, like you saw online? So it's difficult when you have these types of games. If you go into it and you want to have this great experience, but you wind up having a lot of people just kind of doing what they think is fun, but really ruining the experience for everyone else.
Well, and I think that's where, to be honest, I think that's what Ubisoft wants in this. I don't think they want you to go in there and have a standard multiplayer experience. I think the fact that it's so unique and volatile inside that particular zone, that's exactly what they're looking for, is to see who's going to team up versus who's going to rogue out, who's going to be that guy that just that goes crazy in there and loses his mind and becomes a rogue, and you can go into the dark zone with a team, so you can go in with that 4-man team if you want to go into the dark zone and take on other people. Yeah. So I mean, I think there's so many ways you can play it. I think that's what they want. They want you to experiment, and they want it to be maybe not even the same experience every time you go in.
Yeah.
So, Sean, how much time have you gotten in there?
I've probably put about 6 hours, 7 hours into the PlayStation 4 version. Haven't played much of the Xbox One version, but I'm hoping to get get online with you guys soon.
Well, I'm only level 8 because I haven't played as much because of the stuff going on.
I think I'm level 5. I haven't been to the Dark Zone either, but God, the game is amazing. There's just so much stuff you can do too as well. I mean, I was playing with a few friends on PlayStation 4, and they were like changing their loadouts and stuff, and I spent 5 minutes shooting rats. So I mean, and you get experience points for shooting rats or sniping rats. It's pretty cool. And there's you can go into subways. It's an amazing game.
Yeah, I like the potential of exploration in this game. You mentioned the subway, Sean. I was in the subways today with Eric Jackson from EXL, and we were just exploring the subway system, just having fun. It was great, and I mean, I can only imagine as they start unlocking the rest of Manhattan how much we're gonna have to explore. That's the part that gets me really excited about this game. There's so much to explore. There's potentially so much to do. I mean, we start off in Brooklyn, which is kind of like the training or the intro to the game. Then you go to Manhattan, but there's still Queens. There's still you could go to Jersey if you want to go to Jersey City or Hoboken, which is across from Midtown Manhattan, and they could open that up. So there's so much potential here in terms of exploration that really has me excited about this game.
Well, there's also a lot of potential for expansion as well. I mean, you can very clearly see, if you look to the north, you can very, very clearly see Central Park, which you cannot access yet. But I guarantee you Central Park will be the focal point of an expansion, as will areas like Long Island.
And that brings up an interesting question, and we'll go down the line. I'll ask from my left to right. I know it's not the same as what you guys see down below. Season Pass. It's a $40 Season Pass. Sean, are you getting it?
I will be getting it. Yeah,
John?
Definitely.
I already got it.
Enrique?
I'll be getting it.
Brian?
I'm going to say yes now, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have the time. So it's about time for me. It's not about the game being bad. It's definitely worth getting. I don't know if I'm going to have that kind of time. I wish I did. I don't know how people are at level 30 already. I mean, the game came out when did the game come out?
Tuesday.
Does anybody work anymore? Does anybody have to go to work?
Well, Warrior, I think those guys were like level 30 like day 2 or 3.
My goodness.
Some people binge, man. I know when it came out. I mean, it had a midnight digital launch. People had it pre-ordered and preloaded, and they were playing till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Jesus.
Jack the on that Microsoft Coke.
I just don't have that time. I wish that I did. I really do. I want to try and make some more. I just
I do too. I mean, look, this entire weekend would have been perfect for. It would have been perfect for catching up on that game, but I had band gig. I mean,
Yeah.
my Saturday night was entertaining. So and then I get home and then there's a daylight savings time switch, which doesn't help at all.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm not really, when we're done tonight, I'm going to jump on for a little while and then I'll try to get more into it on, from Monday on. My issue with the season pass is that if I buy the season pass, which I really would like to buy, that's going to take funds away from another game that I could possibly
Yeah.
get. I mean, it's a $40 season pass.
there's a lot of stuff coming out in April that's going to take my time. From
Quantum Break.
Quantum
Yeah.
Break,
Ratchet and Clank.
Uncharted 4, Ratchet
Ratchet
and Clank.
Right.
I mean,
so there's a lot of good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
It really does.
Oh my
It is
God,
awesome.
it does. And I know, like, John, you're a Dark Souls guy, right?
I'm a huge life stops when Dark Souls 3 comes out. It stops. I don't know about you guys, but the nice thing for me is that my wife is also a big gamer, so
See, that helps.
That helps, yeah.
That helps.
it does.
My wife is
Believe
not.
me, helps me immensely.
Well, and look, I still have 3 young kids that they don't. My oldest is 11. He doesn't get to bed till 9. It gives me very little time with my wife before she goes to bed, and then by the time I'm settled down to play, it's 10 o'clock at night. I mean, and then I have to work, so I get 2, maybe 2.5 hours in before I go to bed. That's not enough to get through that and then play Quantum Break and Ratchet and Clank and Uncharted. And I mean, I haven't even gone back to the Drake collection because now I got the Division. And playing some stuff for IGO for which Sean I got to get 2 reviews out for. So it's difficult to find the time to play the games that are already out there. My backlog is insane.
It's going to get worse too because this is going to be a great year for games.
Oh, this is going to be an amazing year for games. This could be if you go back in time, with the exception of the Dreamcast launch, could be one of the best years.
I mean, this is going to be like the year for this is going to be the year for Gen 8 when the floodgates truly open. Because you've got, let's think about what you got. The big games are Uncharted 4. I think Ratchet and Clank is going to surprise a lot of people. Quantum Break is going to be a big one. The Division is out. I guarantee you're going to get some big Destiny DLC this year because I don't think Bungie can afford for that not to happen. You're going to get Gears 4 this winter.
Doom.
And Doom is coming out.
Yeah.
Dark Souls 3, and say what you want about No Man's Sky. I think that's going to impress a lot of people, just due to the sheer scope of it. So I think No Man's Sky is going to be bigger than people anticipate. At the very least, I think it's a fascinating experiment in what exactly defines game content. Because ostensibly, you could play the game forever; it wouldn't end.
Yeah, Sean Murray said no DLC for that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, why? I mean, why would they need it? The game goes on forever. I mean,
I can't wait.
And I think there's an interesting conversation to be had there about No Man's Sky, and is it possible for a game to have too much content?
Well, they're charging $60 for it. It better have unlimited content.
Well, theoretically, the game never ends. I mean, there's like 18 quintillion planets. And,
Yep.
I mean, the game is so large that they actually programmed satellites into the game, which were finding planets that they did not create.
You know what was amazing? I read an article.
Jesus.
Yeah, I read an article where they talked about they were demoing the game, and a person had discovered a planet. And when they flew to the planet, they flew in, and the person playing complained that it was too dark. And what they didn't realize was that they flew into the side of the planet where the sun had already set based on the solar system that they were in.
What?
And what they had to do was fly to the side of the planet that was facing the sun in the solar system, and it would be daytime there.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
People just didn't realize that. They were just sort of playing it like you conventionally play a video game, and you just expect it to be day and night whenever the developer wants it to be.
Well, and here's the thing that'll really blow your mind is that each planet is planet-sized. It's to scale. So you can't. It's not like you land on a planet and you've got a Skyrim map. Each one of these planets. I mean, when you're flying into the planet, there's no transition. It doesn't. You fly into the planet in real time, and you approach land from your ship in real time, and that just fucking boggles my mind. I don't even understand how it's possible.
Well, and so, which begs the question.
I'm sold.
I mean, it begs the question, though. Let's, look at it from the other side. I mean, from what it's been described, this is a game that's too good to be true.
It seems like it.
I mean, it depends on what you're looking for going into it. I mean, I think if you're looking for the type of game where you are just in, the universe and go where you want, land where you want, explore, then you're going to love it. If you want a conventional experience, then you'll probably say, hey, there's too much going on here. I don't have time, and you'll label it as, like those walking simulators, I don't know what's going on, and it just doesn't feel like a game to me. And
I mean, just in the scale. I mean, what you guys are describing is something that sounds impossible to pull off on a $350 console.
Well, I think the way they're doing it is they're using procedural generation, so that a lot of the stuff, is probably going to look a little similar based on like whatever algorithm they're using to generate whatever it is you're looking at when you're looking at it. So, you might have a planet that the one planet's blue, and then the next planet you discover will be like off blue with a different kind of flora and fauna. But I don't know. I mean, from what they've shown and demoed, it looks. It looks insane, the scope. But you're right. I mean, it could be a little repetitive.
What's interesting about two games that are coming out this year, and I'm talking about Quantum Break and No Man's Sky, they both have one thing in common. And I know you guys are probably thinking, well, what the fuck does Quantum Break and No Man's Sky have in common? They both bring out the rabid fanboys on either side of the fence. Because there are a bunch of PlayStation fanboys who say, oh, Quantum Break is going to be trash, it's probably 5 minutes long, it's going to be nothing but cutscenes, oh, look at that, you have to be on the internet to see the cutscenes, and then you got people on the other side of the fence who say No Man's Sky is trash, it's a glorified indie game, it's not worth $60. And I really want both of these games to prove both camps wrong.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that brings us to our kind of last time. I was hoping to make this a shorter podcast because I'm exhausted, but when we get a bunch of good gamers on here to talk, we can go for hours. So I'm going to try to push it along a little bit. That brings us to the last thing I wanted to talk about, and I know you have experience with it, John. Brian sees it all the time, Enrique sees it all the time, and Sean, you wanted to talk about it tonight too. The gaming community has gone off the. Now you got me. You've got me.
Do it
Now, John.
Just say it.
Do it.
Jesus,
Say it.
they've gone
Do it. It
off
feels
the
so good.
fucking
Don't do
deep
it.
end.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
And
Does that feel better,
Now,
Mike?
before we get into this, I have one request for everybody in the room. I would like you to not specifically call out hostiles that are advancing. Please do not let. I do not want to. This is not that kind of podcast, and
I won't
everybody knows
reference
that.
any names.
Yeah, I do not want to. This is a community at large, a general sense of what we're seeing, whether it's online, whether it's forums or what have you. So, and I promise not to do it too, because you guys know who I'm talking about. So my issue is, and this is where my soapbox was coming out. It seems like no matter what happens these days, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's good news or bad news. The gaming community has basically gone nuts. It starts with things like Microsoft trying to sell games on its own storefront.
Don't even get me started on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's you almost want. It's like you want to pick these people up and go, so what?
Yeah,
It's their right. What is the big deal? Do you want to play the game? Then buy it on their storefront. But no, it's and so this is if we take the mind of some of these folks that I love, this is the one I love the most. Microsoft, they don't care about PC gaming. They only care about their Xbox product. They haven't supported PC games for 20 years. Hey guys, we're gonna put Quantum Break and Forza and a lot of these games that you guys have been asking for on the PC. Aha! They're killing the Xbox. They're gonna spin off the Xbox is dead. All they care about is PC gaming, and they don't give a shit about the Xbox. This is real. This is happening. This is what's going on out there, and it bleeds into what John's talking about. Whereas there has to be something wrong with every game that comes out.
Yeah.
Or they wanted to fail. Yeah.
Right.
And I don't understand this mentality that people have of I actively look for games to fail. I want them to fail. I mean, it's, and that is the worst thing about the fanboy community on either side is the fact that, the common bond that connects us, that tie that binds us together is that we are all gamers. And if were this hobby ever to go away, we all lose out equally. I mean, that's never going to happen. But I'm using that as an example. And so you would figure that we would all be united in our love of gaming, be it on console or PC or regardless whether or not your Xbox or PlayStation. Which is why I refer to like ponies and Xbox in jest occasionally, but rarely do I use that in jest, and I never call people back to their face because I enjoy both consoles, and I find the name calling to be crass and ridiculous. And I just don't get it. I don't understand it.
And it doesn't do anything. I mean, it doesn't. None of this affects anybody's real life. I say this a lot, and I've said it before, even on here and on on other podcasts, that when I step away from Twitter, when I step away from this, I've got a wife and kids upstairs. I've got a real life. I've got a I like I said, I just finished a night of playing music for a bunch of 13-year-olds and making money doing it. This isn't my real life. I enjoy this because I'm sitting here with 4 really good guys, all of us gamers, all of us that enjoy this as a hobby. Obviously, you see my collection of stuff. This is what it's supposed to be about. And too often, social media, which is really one of the big pushers of it, when you can basically talk behind an anonymous name, it makes it real easy to throw that fire out there, and it's unnecessary. And it doesn't enhance anything. All it really does is it draws everybody into a big fight, and then nobody cares about. These people spent so much time talking about Quantum Break being on PC that everybody forgot to talk about how freaking phenomenal Quantum Break looks.
It's great.
This is the 3rd week now that I am going to say there is something. Let's talk about this for a second. I don't want to make I think drawing attention to fanboys gives them power. So let's switch up just a quick bit. Quantum Break. I've said this for 3 weeks now. There's something about this game that maybe it's because it's Remedy, maybe it's the cast that they've brought in, whatever has gone on with this game. There's something that just feels special about this game that I can't put my finger on. And I don't feel that way about Scalebound or Uncharted. I know what I'm getting with Uncharted, and Uncharted is going to be phenomenal. I'm like, I can't wait. Scalebound is going to be great. I can't wait for it. Recore, Gears, all these games that are coming out, but there's something that I can't put my finger on with Quantum Break that if this game does not kill it, I'm going to seriously question Xbox gamers as a whole.
So here's my take on it real quick, and I'll just do a really quick take. Scalebound, it's a platinum game, and I love platinum games. So it's going to be great. It's not going to sell for shit because platinum games don't sell, and Japanese games sell even less on the Xbox because that's not the market that they're focused on. And console gaming in Japan is dead. I mean, let's face it, it's dead. So while Scalebound will be great, I don't think it's going to sell. I want it to, but I don't think it will. I actually voiced one concern I have about Quantum Break, and I got called a pony all over the place. My only concern about Quantum Break is that I don't want another Order 1886. I know that Remedy's a far more talented developer than Ready at Dawn, but nobody can deny that we have not seen much gameplay regarding Quantum Break. There's been a lot of talk, there's been a lot of hype, but there's not been a lot of gameplay. That to me is troubling. Having said that, it's Remedy. I'm sure they're going to put out a great product, and I'm sure my little fear there is unfounded. But I think that a lot of people say, oh, there was a big hoopla about Quantum Break coming to PC, and everybody was worried about it. And everybody said, oh, what's going to take away sales from the Xbox One? It's going to sell less consoles. Quantum Break was never going to sell a shitload of Xbox Ones because it's an untested IP. And so it's not designed to be a system seller. It's designed to introduce the audience to a franchise that I feel could potentially become a system seller, but I don't think it is now, and I want to see what you guys think about that.
All right, Worry.
Well, it's a new IP. I mean, you can't. There's no way that a new IP can instantly be a system seller because it's a new IP. It has to be established. It has to gain a following. It has to gain.
And Worry, that is exactly my point. Is that people are saying Quantum Break will move Xbox Ones, and I'm like, I don't.
I think Gears will move Xbox Ones.
Absolutely, Gears is going to sell. Gears is going to kill. I think I fully expect Gears 4 to sell more consoles and games than Halo 5 did. Period.
Yeah,
but because I think
it's a new IP, so if it comes out and it does really well and it's supported by people who own Xboxes and they go out and they buy it and it does well and the community builds around it, and then it could be a system seller when Quantum Break 2 comes out.
And I really want Quantum Break to sell well because I think Xbox needs a victory right now.
Well, I mean, and this is where some of this comes from, where we get, where you get into what happens on social media. What define a victory? I mean, they're posting profits in their division. They're
sure. So all right, I'll rephrase. I think the fan base needs a victory because guys like us, we don't care what console sells more. It doesn't affect our daily lives. But
some people believe we do.
Some people, some people do. I know you guys don't, and I could give a shit less what console sells more because it doesn't define who I am as a person. But for some people on both sides of the fence, it absolutely does. Some people gloat. We all know who I'm talking about on Twitter. Some people gloat every NPD that PS4 beat the Xbox One, and there are other people. I've got them all blocked, but there are other people who say, the PS4 has no games. It is nothing but it's an indie station. Blah 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 blah. And for for people on the Xbox side of the fence, a lot of these people who don't care or who don't involve themselves in the fanboy wars, but they don't feel confident in the product right now, rightly or wrongly. I would love for them to get a few NPDs under the belts just so they could feel better, And I hate that people define their comfortability in their purchase based on how much something sells, but some people absolutely do.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when you said that. If you're a person who's waiting for a victory in terms of a sales number in order to feel happy, I don't think that you're approaching it in the right way. I think
exactly.
If you're excited for a new IP like Quantum Break and you say that you want to see it do really well and then it comes out and it's a smash hit and people love it and it's getting great reviews, that kind of excitement is something that's a good place to start from.
Yep.
Exactly.
I can agree with that, and I can agree with what I can see what John's saying. I mean, and it's sad that it's come to that. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't. It's a conversation we shouldn't be having, but it is kind of comical. I was running across my Twitter feed real quick, and this GIF comes to mind as I watch the console war go on. And there's one side, and there's the other. I don't know. It's hard to see it.
I mean, you really have to understand though. There's a whole other side to what you call community out there. I think the community you're talking about is the one you see on social media, but there are a lot of other people who aren't on social media that I interact with online that are just normal people who love video games.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sure, yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
true. Yeah.
Well, I think the five of us sitting here right now are that part of the community. You know, we're the ones that are plugging the games, and we're the ones that are trying to bring the positive light. Sometimes we got to call it as we see it, but most of the time we're doing it from some semblance of objectivity. We talked about, and John Enrique, you weren't on earlier. We talked about Lionhead and Press Play getting closed.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about what the reaction online was.
Mm-hmm.
But between Brian and Sean and I think what our reaction was a lot different. It's more grounded in what the reality was. Are there concerns? Did Brian bring up concerns about what this means? Yes. Were we sitting here going hair on fire that Microsoft's selling the Xbox division? Of course not, because that's not grounded in reality. And I think what we do as gamers, like I said, the five of us, the guys who are on John's Super Deformed Gamescast is kind of the same way, grounded in reality. Enrique, the guys that you have on Basement Radio Arcade, Eric and Mamacita, that grounded in reality. And we're the voices that get drowned out on social media because we're not typing it every 5 minutes of the day either. So we sit here on podcasts and we talk games, and we don't talk companies. We don't talk shit about companies. We talk about games.
But the problem is, Mike, is that the voices that yell loudest are the ones that are heard the most.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why
I don't know. There's a difference between people that listen and people that hear. There's a difference between listening and hearing. I think a lot of the stuff that goes on is people listening. I don't think a lot is heard. I think it's just a lot of yelling and screaming and saying things to get reactions. And I've never really felt comfortable doing that. So that's why I'm not hugely popular.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but I'm not doing this to become popular. I don't want to have subscribers. I don't monetize. I just don't. I'm at a point now, honestly, where I could take it or leave it. This is not what I expected community circa 2016 video games to be.
Yeah, you would have thought that we'd have evolved by now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that we're going backwards.
I used to argue in the schoolyard when we got the news from the local video game shop from the guy who worked there, who we all thought was God because he knew everything about video games.
Yeah.
And we would argue about games then, but it's the same thing now. It's just that people are older doing it.
Yeah.
No, here's the one thing that I do not understand about supposed fanboys. You're alienating yourself from other good games.
Yeah.
You sit there and you see that, oh, I love the PlayStation. And going back to one thing you said, Mike, if a gamer or a so-called gamer is going to go out and buy a system just because it sold more, they're not a gamer.
Yep.
And
so they're more like a groupie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people like me and Mike take it to heart more because we've been gaming. God, I've been gaming since the Atari 2600. And
The wood panel days.
that's right.
Wood panel days, right?
Oh, I got some stuff to show you tonight, but I'll wait a couple
I was in my share.
Yeah, I still have my Odyssey.
Oh, the
It
Odyssey.
doesn't work.
There you go.
Hold on. Is that the one where you have the modular screen and you put it on the?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Can you see the wood
cartridges were
grain?
the size
Hang
of,
on, I'm showing it, Sean.
yeah.
There you go.
Electronic, the
I
electronic
have the
game of
white
the
one.
future.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's it.
No, I
That's
have
not the Odyssey.
No, I
This
have
is the Intellivision.
I meant to bring it out and put it on the desk. I have the Intellivision 2, which was the white
Oh boy.
model
Oh, sweet.
with the unpluggable controller.
Controllers, yeah.
Yeah, that's how this one is. This one's got the. You can't.
Those don't unplug. You can't.
Man.
Yeah,
Not
they
the
can't.
original.
They can't unplug.
No, the Intellivision 2, which I have, actually the controller's unplugged from the base.
That was the big
My-
feature.
Yeah.
And I was 4 years old in 1984. I'm sorry, 5 years old in 1985. And right before we had an NES, my dad bought me an old fucking Intellivision. It had that disc on the controller. That
Yep.
remote control.
Yeah, little circle.
Yeah.
And man, I remember being blown
right
the
there.
fuck away. I was like, holy shit.
That's like a cell phone.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
And he had,
or-
and the buttons and the side
Yeah.
buttons. My hand used to cramp playing that, but it was so fun, man.
oh yeah.
How about this? It had a retractable cord. You see that?
It did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They don't.
Then we got the NES and everything fucking changed overnight.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And see, and I lived through because when I worked at what was then Games and Gadgets and Electronics Boutique, I was in that war. I was on the Sega side. I was that was my thing.
Sega does with Nintendo.
Yeah, but that's
Fair.
also
There's nothing wrong with preference. There's nothing wrong with liking
but in
something.
my young and stupid days, it was beyond that. It was beyond preference.
But
I
we
was
evolved.
fighting with the
This
Nintendo.
game-
Right. I got my hands on Mario 64, and I was like, well, what have I been doing all this time, and how stupid was I? And it opened my world to Nintendo, and ever since.
that's a whole other conversation, Mike. Is God, I want the NX to succeed. I need the NX
I
to
am-
succeed.
think it will.
Yeah, me too.
I am putting all my faith in Nintendo because to me they're the company that's still, and I'm not taking a knock at Sony or Microsoft, but they're the company that still has that pulse on what just fun is.
Well,
when
and
it
that's
comes
the
to
thing. That's the thing. Worries that people and worry. I've heard some of the other podcasts you've been on, and people argue Xbox has the best exclusives. No, Sony has the best exclusives. Actually, neither
Neither
has the
does.
first-party stable that Nintendo does.
No.
And that's
No.
just a fact of
But
life.
then the
I'll
argument
drink
is,
to that.
well, that's for, and then when you bring that up, I usually hear when I brought that up, I usually heard, well, that's all kiddie games though.
Yeah.
And
Oh, God.
and then I hear, how many times can you save the princess? And my rebuttal to that is, how many times can you buy Call of Duty? How many times
Right.
can you buy Madden? How many times can you buy a Madden game? How many times can you buy NHL 97? I mean, it's not the fact that you're doing the same thing over and over again. It's the fact that it's so damn well done, and it has just that basic fun in it.
Let me tell you,
I mean,
if
that's just my
Mario-
opinion. I'm not
If
saying
Mario was just kiddie, Mario Kart wouldn't have been.
Mario Kart on the Wii U is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's a
It is.
phenomenon.
Well, I mean, Super Mario Maker is fucking legendary.
It is.
and I guarantee there's more than 12-year-olds playing that game.
Absolutely.
Oh God,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I think it is important for the industry that Nintendo resuscitate itself. And you know what? For everything I've heard about the NX is that one, it will be just as, if not more powerful than either the PS4 or the Xbox One, and they are finally going to lock down a good online, because apparently Destiny 2 is coming to Nintendo's new console. That says a lot about the online infrastructure that they're planning on putting in place. And I'll tell you what, if the rumors about them funding Beyond Good and Evil 2 as a Nintendo exclusive are true, I'll be there day one.
Do you think people still remember that game fondly? I mean, I'm playing it now. It's backwards compatible on the Xbox One, and I just recently started playing it again. And I forgot how amazing that game is.
It is a crime that
Yeah.
it didn't sell. It is a crime. That is one of the saddest stories in gaming.
It's amazing. It really is.
That
if you
game
have an
deserved to
Xbox
sell
One, it's
God,
$10 backwards compatible in the store right now. You can pick it
Oh,
up.
it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
wow.
If you have not played Beyond Good and Evil 2, it's an absolute fucking no-brainer. That's one of those games, like, I can't understand why we're getting a Mirror's Edge sequel and not a Beyond Good and Evil 2 sequel, because Mirror's Edge didn't sell for shit.
No.
I mean, it didn't. It was very much a title that didn't, and it failed to impress me. I believe it actually sold less than Beyond Good and Evil 2 did. So I don't understand. And I mean, nobody was screaming for a Mirror's Edge sequel. People were gasping for a Beyond Good and Evil 2 sequel. So I just don't get the logic.
I wonder if Ubisoft is, look, you're seeing this more and more, and you know what? Screw talking about the communities. Let's keep talking games for a little while, guys, because I'd rather talk about that than talk about fanboys.
Yeah, so would I.
I think that what's happening. Oh,
Someone
Man
fell.
down. Man down.
Man down.
Hostiles are advancing. Hostiles are advancing. I think what's happening, and it's for better or worse, and I think somewhat worse. I think your big developers, with some exception, are still trying to rally around their big giant franchises. So why put the money into a Beyond, what is going on? What are you doing?
He,
He's
Migas-
he's Morse coding back to New York.
he's in the dark zone right now.
He's in the dark zone. He's literally in the dark zone. Look at his camera.
What are you guys talking about? I don't hear anything. I don't hear shit. I don't have no idea what you guys are talking about.
No, well, it's because something happened to you. Can you hear us now?
Oh no, okay, yeah, no, I'm on my phone and my phone was dying, so I had to plug it in. So,
I gotcha.
Oh, gotcha,
Okay.
gotcha.
So I still maintain, and I know there are some smaller versions of games, but I think most of your major publishers are trying to rally around their big titles. And if you look at, for example, Ubisoft, I think they're putting they put all of their eggs into the Division. I mean, to the extent that they've backed off Assassin's Creed for a year, I just don't think they have room, so they think, for a Beyond Good and Evil sequel, because their best shot at revenue is the Division. Look at Activision. Now, Sean can attest to this. Sean, when we used to go to E3, how many games in the 2000s when we used to go? How many games could you find in the Activision booth every year?
It was off the chart, and that was mostly all developers too. I mean, but Activision always had a bulk of games.
I mean, whether it was
20
the
plus.
latest, right? The Spider-Mans, the Tony Hawks, they had guys, they had the 007 license, which they may still have. They had a ton of games that you walk through their booth and seeing. They're not even showing up to E3 now, because really, what have they got? They've got Call of Duty and Destiny, and I mean, we don't talk about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 here.
Nope.
But
I
if
played
you
it.
think about it, I know. I remember you talking about it on
Jesus.
So, by the way, real quick, I have to ask you, what was up with Crestfallen Megative? Was that just because you're still locked in that damn hotel?
Oh no, anybody who plays Dark Souls knows exactly what that reference is.
Gotcha. I saw that. I chuckled. But Activision went from having this plethora of games that they made money on. It's not like they lost money on all these games, to having 2 games, and that's it.
But, Mike, I think that speaks more to the slow demise of E3 than anything else.
Well, no, I'm talking about them. But I'm talking about them from. I think that is a kind of a snowball from the fact that Activision has nothing to show. They're not going to spend millions of dollars on a booth to just show Call of Duty, whatever they're going to call it. So,
Was it Bloodlines?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Avania Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Call of
You guys remember Castlevania Bloodlines?
Oh yeah, of course.
Great game.
Call-of-Mania.
But these obviously EA's got a large slate of games, but it's Madden, it's their sports titles, of course, and it's their yearly franchises. It's Battlefield. It's that kind of stuff. They're taking a chance on little games like Unravel, and to a larger extent rather, Plants vs Zombies, which has been a good game for them. But
that's a fantastic game, by the way. The new one is awesome.
Yeah, it really is. But if you look, these companies, and they're doing this. Ubisoft said this about the Division, going back to that they're really looking more now into games as a service. So where are they going to have room for a Beyond Good and Evil if they want to try to keep this Division train rolling? If Activision wants to keep Destiny into this service-based game, where do they have time for another Beanox game or something like that? And Lord knows they don't want another Tony Hawk if it's going to turn out like that.
Well, so from what I've heard, the only reason Beyond Good and Evil 2 would be made would be because Nintendo would money had it.
And Ubisoft said really quickly they forced. Well, I'm not going to give them any press because they suck, but they forced the people who posted that to take that down. They were forced to rescind that article. So
Which tells me that it's probably true.
that's a good.
That's
point.
what Sean said last week.
Yeah.
And
That's a good point.
the people buying a Nintendo console would probably be the audience that would support that type of game anyway.
I got a story about that too. When Black Ops 2 was out, and this is the first time I'm telling the story, I actually posted it on my old gaming website, Gaming Console Network. Some celebrity was in a DLC. It was Call of the Dead, but it was before Call of the Dead came out. And I posted that they wrote on their Twitter that they were doing motion capture for a new DLC, and I posted it on my website. Activision actually got in touch with me and told me to take it down. So you never know. And you know who that person is from Activision, Mike.
Oh, I do. I do. And you know what? Because he's because he's a good guy, you respect that.
Yes.
So-
I took
I
it
think
down.
the general rule of thumb is anytime a company tells you, "Hey, take something down immediately," there's truth to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, a quick info. Tomorrow at 3:30 PDT time, they're going to demo Quantum Break live.
Oh, really?
Oh, good. Good. I would love to see
MicrosoftStudios.com.
Oh, wow.
I
Check that out.
have avoided all gameplay videos. I know they've been out there. I've avoided them all. I refuse. I do not want to see it. I want to wait and be surprised.
March is going to be an interesting month as far as game reviews go. So we're going to get, sounds like we're going to get some Quantum Break gameplay. We will finally, I am guessing, know the release date and price of PSVR at some point this month. I believe it's the 15th.
It's going to launch with that vaping cigarette.
Yeah, it's going to launch those two blue glowing dildos that PlayStation Move used to use.
Oh, my God.
And then February.
You have your own?
March 31st, Final Fantasy 15. We will finally know the release date for Final Fantasy 15.
I heard September 30th for that game.
That was a rumor.
Is that a rumor?
It's a rumor that I think is probably true.
Probably.
I mean, they've already said the game's coming this year, and I think it has to.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of, because I've got to go in a second. But before I do, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts, since we're talking games on a fan base, which is a better topic. Announced games that have no release date but are slated to come out this year. What do you guys actually think is coming? Like, I think we can use, like, The Last Guardian and Horizon as good examples. We don't have release dates, but apparently they're coming this year. Do you guys?
I think Horizon will come this year. I think. I don't want to say it because I really loved Team Ico and the games that they've done, Shadow of the Colossus, and Ico, however you say it. I say Ico.
Konami.
That was one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 2. I just don't think it's going to happen this year.
The Last Guardian?
Yeah.
Shuei Yoshida was very adamant that it was coming out this year.
Well, they've been adamant that the game was coming out since 1847.
Since 1886.
Yes.
Damn it, Mike, you beat me by 1 second.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh man.
But no, I agree. I think Horizon absolutely comes up this year. I think it's going to be Sony's big tentpole release this fall. Because for the simple reason that I don't think Sony can afford to not have another big AAA exclusive. This winter, they got away with it last winter on the back of games like Star Wars, and that's cool. But that's not going to happen again. So they needed to come out this year. So I think it's going to be great. The Last Guardian, I think it needs to come out this year just for the simple fact that Sony's going to lose, or either Sony or Shuhei will lose some face if it doesn't.
You think so? I don't know. I mean, it's been delayed so many times. I don't think it even matters about losing face at this point.
But see, the thing is, is that let's face it. Last year Sony had one of the best E3s in years on the back of Shenmue 3 and The Last Guardian and Final Fantasy 7 remake. And Shuhei doubled down on that 2016 release date. He said it's coming. I mean, people were freaking fainting in the audience. We all saw it.
It's like a Michael Jackson concert.
It was, and I think people, I equate it to me waiting for the Chicago Cubs to win a World Series.
Yeah.
I really, really wanted it to happen, but over time, I just don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah.
And
it's one of those things where you don't care, but when it happens, you're going to be there.
Exactly.
Oh, sure, I'll be there, but I do think that if it doesn't come out this year, like, for example, we didn't see anything in PlayStation Experience in 2015, and I really expected to see something. And I said, we did a live broadcast of that on our podcast, and I said, if we don't see The Last Guardian at PSX 2015, I think something's wrong, and we didn't. And that to me, that was not an encouraging sign to me. Especially considering, and I'm with you, man. I loved Eco. I love Shadow of the Colossus. And Team Eagle Process some great stuff, but I mean that gameplay at E3 last year was the same thing we saw 9 years ago.
And that's something that not many people are talking about. I mean, it honestly was almost the exact same scene.
It was the same thing.
It was the same scene, yeah.
And I mean, all they had to do was just, I mean, and I was like, this doesn't tell me anything. And I mean, yeah, I have a preference for Sony consoles, I do, but I'm also not a blind rabbit fanboy. When I was watching it, people were flipping out over it, and I said, but this is, I mean, I could find this on YouTube 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, so it's just me.
Yeah, I think if you're waiting for the game, you're gonna wait until it comes out. There's plenty of other things to play. I think if you are using it as cannon fodder, then you've got something you can use if the game doesn't come out this year. But otherwise, it's like, all right, well, either they're gonna. It's like me with Fable Legends. Am I upset that Fable Legends got canceled? Yes. And I said earlier, I really want to talk about it. I really want to tell people what I thought of the game because I think it's being I think not releasing is an injustice upon the work they put into it. But does life go on? Yes. Am I gonna did I enjoy the time that I had in the beta? Yes. Am I gonna play it some more before April 13th? Oh yeah. But the people who are waiting on The Last Guardian, they're going to keep waiting, and then when The Last Guardian comes out, they're going to buy it and they're going to play it. I'm not sure that they announced The Last Guardian as a system seller. The Last Guardian is a homage to PlayStation gamers, which you brought up E3 last year, and we'll wrap up here because I know a couple of you got to go, and this went an hour longer than I wanted it to, but as I said, when we get good gamers on to talk, man, we could go for hours. I felt like, and I have no problem with this, I'm not saying this is a negative, I actually think this is a good thing. Sony's E3 last year was a homage to their gaming base. It wasn't there to bring in new gamers. Games like Last Guardian and Shenmue are not there to bring in brand new gamers. The Last Guardian is there for Team Ico fans who are rabid, who want that game, who have played Shadow of the Colossus, who have played, those games and want this. If it slips to spring 2017, the only people who are going to care are the ones who want to use that as a bullet in their gun.
That's a good point.
Everybody else who is ready for the game, they're simply going to wait.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a real shame that you have to use that analogy.
But it's true. And
No,
in the old days when you had gaming magazines and stuff like that, and nobody could communicate back and forth on social media, it really wasn't a big deal. It's only a big deal now because some people make it a big deal. I'm sad that I go back to Fable Legends. I'm sad that people aren't going to get a chance to play that game. But
I think anybody who didn't see that coming is fooling themselves.
I freely admit I didn't see it coming. I thought that the game was coming along well. I thought that when they put the DirectX 12 build in, it was a tangible difference from what was going on before, and it almost felt like they were ready to hit that open beta. I think people who didn't get into that game or didn't see that game or weren't in the beta, I think their view of that game, for right or wrong, I would have liked to have seen what their reaction was once they actually got their hands on it. I think they would have been surprised. So, but that again, it's coming from an old Phantasy Star Online player. So, anyhow, all right. So I want to go down the list real quick, find out what you guys are playing, and then we're going to call it a night. And Brian, let's start with you. What do you got going on currently?
I'm playing Beyond Good and Evil HD on the Xbox One. I'm waiting for Quantum Break and Ratchet & Clank.
All right. And playing Division, right?
I'm playing Division. I'm playing it more
I think
solo than I have been playing with other people. But I need to, apparently I'm level 11 now. That's not high enough for friends to play
I'm
with
level
me.
11
I
too.
know. I feel the same way. I've got a couple of guys, including one of my friends from UbiSoft, who I keep going, "Hey, man, don't forget to play it." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on level 28. I can't even play with you because you're such a
Right.
peon level." So
That's too
yeah,
funny.
I have to use my alt account to play with you because that account I don't play with unless I have people who are beneath me. So, and I'm exaggerating. So, Enrique, what are you playing?
I am currently playing The Division right now, and I am a level 11 as well. So if anyone wants to join me in a game of Division, not tonight, some point this week, let me know because I'm only 11. I have a lot of other people that are like 20. So, Mike, you know what? Speaking of games, you should check out Firewatch.
It's
You have
amazing.
said.
Great fucking game.
You
Yeah,
have said.
yeah, it's a great game. One of my favorite games this year.
Excellent.
You can finish it one evening, and that is not a bad thing.
It's not.
No, it really isn't. No, John. Other than the Division, what do you got going on?
Well, I actually want to point out to Worry. I have actually played the E3 build of Ratchet and Clank.
Really?
Here's the thing. I walked into my local GameStop, and there it was. And I was like, yeah, okay, I got time. And all I can tell you is be hyped. It looks and plays just as good as you've seen.
Oh my gosh, can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I
I've needed a
I was-
platformer this
was-
generation.
Oh, and well, here's the thing. I was staring at it, just mouth open. It looks like you're playing a Pixar movie. And
Yeah.
I know
We
said that
finally
in
got
games
Pixar.
before, but no, but seriously, this looks like a fucking Pixar movie.
Oh my goodness.
I don't understand how they're like. I'm surprised the PS4 was smoking because it is by far and this I say this having played Battlefront. It is the best looking console game I've seen this generation.
Wow.
Now, having said that, Quantum Break is probably going to set the bar, but so far, it is the best looking console game. Other than that, I'm waiting for Dark Souls 3 because when Dark Souls, I've already got my day of leave at work blocked off. The big ones for me, Nick, are Dark Souls 3, Uncharted 4, and Quantum Break, and Ratchet and Clank. So I've got a busy month ahead of me.
Nice, very nice. Sean.
I've been playing a lot of Division, mostly on the PlayStation 4. I got to get on the Xbox One because I'm level 5. So if you guys want to jump on, just
Hey, I'll jump on with you, Sean.
I'm
Okay.
your Huckleberry.
I've also been playing.
Huckleberry.
I've been playing Colap for the PlayStation 4, which Worry Wart kind of introduced me to. Great game. It's different. Not a lot of people will probably be into it,
Is
but
it scary?
It's like a psychological
Yeah.
type of
Okay.
scary. It's more like a Silent Hill psychological type of scary than a Resident Evil jump out and
All right,
scare you type.
I might have to pick that up then.
also been playing a little bit of like a lot of retro stuff. Been playing the Intellivision on a 40
What's wrong with that?
on a 42-inch high definition TV.
Nice.
And I've been playing a lot actually of Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS. So
I love it. I love that game. I swear, this is embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I literally, on a plane, I spent an hour collecting butterflies with a net.
nothing wrong with that, man.
I hid it underneath of a magazine like I wasn't, like I was actually reading a book, like you did when you were a teenager when you were really reading a porno magazine, you know what I mean?
Now I got to ask you, did you sell them or did you donate them?
I sold them.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That is
I was trying to build my house up.
that's awesome.
I don't want anybody to know I'm playing Animal
I
Crossing.
know.
That's
So-
about it.
Yeah. All right. So beyond the Division, which I'm trying to play through, I've also been trying to get a little Rocket League in because I still enjoy that. And in fact, Slap Happy Gamers left the chat room, but him and I actually caught him by chance in a room the other night, and we played for a couple hours. And it was a lot of fun. I'm getting ready to start. I just finished playing Dungeon of the Endless, which is an endless amount of not that much fun. If you are a turn-based semi-action two-dimensional RPG semi kind of person, this might appeal to you. I have tried and tried and tried. It doesn't appeal to me too much. Review is coming out this week. I'm also going to, Sean, I'm getting ready to start McDroid that you for IGO, and we'll see how that is.
You get fries and a large
Yeah.
cup of that?
I don't even know what the game's about. I'm gonna fire it up and find out what it is.
Hopefully it's better than the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to get you some good stuff.
If you actually want like an indie game that is kind of a dungeon type game it is not your straight ahead hack and slash, but it's really good. It's called Quest for Dungeons.
Mhm.
Really good game, much better than Dungeon of the Endless. And I'm gonna try to start. It was free on Games with Gold this month. I wanted to try to start Sherlock Holmes: Crimes and Punishments. Rory, you did a little video on that, right?
Yeah, I like it. It's
Yeah?
like the natural evolution of the point and click adventure game where
Yeah.
you're still pointing and clicking, but you're in control of a 3D character in a 3D environment, and you piece together things the way you did in the old text-driven games.
Oh yeah.
So
Which
it's good. It's good. It's not again. It's not for everyone, but
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I'm waiting on Blues and Bullets Volume 2.
yeah. It's like Blues and Bullets in the way that you find clues and piece together puzzles and stuff like that.
I think you'll like it, Mike. It's kind of a game for old school gamers like us too. So
I could appeal
I've
to
been
that.
enjoying it.
All right, cool. All right, well, hey guys, thanks for another great podcast. Like I said, we went longer than I was hoping, but at the same time, I always enjoy this stuff. And you guys help make this podcast really fantastic. So I appreciate, Sean, of course, my co-host, is still here. It's been a couple months. He's still here.
I'm not going anywhere.
You know what? They all say that, and then next thing you know,
Dude, I've been in your life for over 20 years. I'm not going to go anywhere.
this is very true. This is very true.
I'm here
You
to
know-
talk
you know-
about Nintendo. So.
It's legal. It's legal now for you two guys.
Hey,
We're not in the same state.
yeah.
Oh, it's all perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Oh man, John and Enrique, thanks for jumping in tonight. Real quick,
Absolutely, man.
John, give a little plug for your podcast.
Yeah, sure. So every Thursday night we go live with the Super Reformed Gamescast at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's no fanboyism allowed on our channel, so don't come bringing that. There's just 6 of us who like to talk about games. We're a small podcast, but we're growing. I don't know if you guys know who Shinobi602 is on Twitter.
Yep.
But we actually had him. He did his first ever podcast with us 2 weeks ago. And we got our first video over 1,000 views. So pretty happy about that. We do giveaways every now and then. We just gave away the Division. We give away Street Fighter V, which I'd like to apologize for. So yeah, sometimes we give away store credits. You just got to be able to look after that. But you can find me on Twitter at MisterMegative. Join us in chat. We answer questions. We engage with our audience. We have a lot of fun. So.
Good stuff, and it is. It's good, and I've been on it. I'll be on again. I hope.
You will be on again.
Oh, because you got a good group of guys there, and
Yeah,
I've got
great podcast.
Yeah, and I've actually become Twitter friends with and played a little bit with these guys too. So yeah, good guys. And Enrique, of course, not only NLG alumni or emeritus as I call him, but tell him a little about the Facebook Radio Arcade podcast.
Enrique, real quick before you do that, I just realized what time it is. I gotta drop, guys. Mike, thanks again for having me, buddy.
You are welcome. And
Have a
I'll
good
get
one,
your link. Actually, your link is in our favorites on the side. So good night,
Outstanding.
John, and thanks for jumping in with us.
Rory, it's good to meet you. And
Oh, you
Sean,
too. Thank you.
Sean, good to talk to you. And Enrique, I will see you on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Same,
man. See you Tuesday.
All right, guys.
See you.
All right, Enrique, go ahead.
So we were talking about the Basement Radio. Yes, so Basement Radio Arcade. We are on.
NBC.
Yeah, it's a VC. Basement Radio Arcade podcast. We are on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and much like what the guys at Super Deformed and what you guys are doing here at NLG, we just talk video games and have fun doing so, and we don't get involved in the whole console war stuff. So definitely check us out. We do have a more positive Xbox centric focused podcast. We really just focus on Xbox related games, news topics without bashing any other systems or anything like that. And that's called the Green Room. We do that Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. And typically joined by co-host Eric Jackson. He's a senior writer over at EXL Gaming. And you gentlemen have all been guests as well. So, we'll be on this Tuesday again. And, give us a follow, give us a like, check us out. So
Awesome. And worry you don't like to be famous, otherwise I would let you plug your channel.
Well, I don't have anything to plug. I'm just here.
Oh, come on. All right. You know what? Don't anybody listen to this man.
I have nothing to plug.
No. Now, you know what? I'm putting your channel in the description because I want people to see you do. You don't give yourself enough credit for some of your content, man. I mean,
some of the wonderfully produced videos.
Worry, those Let's Plays that you do are great.
They really are.
The coffee, I forget what it's
one
called.
where I was the Alan Wake one where I had 4 martinis was very memorable.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
It could have been called Alan Wake, 3 Sheets to the Wind.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, in all seriousness, your content is great because it's pure. It's straight up pure. And your coffee cup contemplation.
This is uncomfortable.
You're making him blush, Mike.
Sorry, his pecs are blushing.
His pecs are blushing. Oh my God.
So anyway, check out his channel too, please. And I once again, and of course, Inside Gaming Online.
Yeah,
it's always in there. They're the print. They're kind of becoming you're more or less the print side of the gaming side. NLG's the radio side, the podcast side, and you're the print side. So it's a good partnership. And
I'm gonna start posting like other videos too. I'm like, if it's cool with you, Enrique, I'd like to start posting your videos too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm cool.
Get them out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
It's all about podcasts. It's all about family.
Yeah.
It is.
We have to be what drives. We have to be what drives the community. We have to try to be.
And worry, Wart, because dude, I like your videos, man. I think your videos are great.
Good luck driving the community, gentlemen.
Hey, you know what?
I'm going to be in the trunk.
Give me the trunk, sipping on the martini.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? There's an old adage: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes.
So we're gonna try. So
I'm actually going to be popping my Basement Radio Arcade podcast cherry this Tuesday. So
yeah,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to having you on, Sean. It's going to be good, man. We have John's going to be on there. Eric will be on there. So we might have I always forget his name. Randall from TXR might be on there as well.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
Mike,
working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah.
So I have to get clearance. I have to get radio clearance from the big boss.
It's Tuesday late.
Tuesday 9:00.
9.
Can you join us, Worry?
I won't. I don't think I'll be home till 10. But I'm sure you'll be on for 4 hours.
We'll probably be on at 10:00 still.
I'm telling, and I wanted to give a shout out again to the chat room. You guys that have been in there, I've been, unfortunately I don't get a chance to interact as much as you guys have been because I'm doing some other stuff. But I keep an eye on the chat room while we're talking, and the discussions are gaming. We're in there talking about games, and I'm sorry we didn't get. There were a few things that were said in there that were really good stuff that were just kind of out of time, and I'm gonna curate some of that stuff, and next week I think what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take some of the questions that are in the chat room, and I'm gonna copy them onto a Word document, and then next week we'll go through some of that stuff and answer some of that stuff for people. But I could just, man, the chat room has been fantastic, and it's been different than I've seen other chat rooms, if you know what I mean. And so I really appreciate what everybody has brought to that. So all that said, as you know, like and subscribe. We're still, we're still growing our subscriber base. We need subscribers if we're going to do more content. Um, so click that like button, click that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter, OG_NL Gaming. Everything that we do on that Twitter feed is nothing but straight news. If you want to know what's going on and you don't need a filter, you don't want somebody's filter behind it, just follow that. Usually, what we're doing is we're tweeting out news and then just linking you to the company press release or whatnot. It's just pretty much straight up. Follow us on Twitch, also at OG_NL Gaming. And I think that covers everything. I'd like to once again thank everybody for joining us. Brian, it's always a pleasure.
Thank
Mhm.
Enrique, my brother.
Thank you
And
for having me on again, man.
Sean.
That would be from another mother, correct?
Always a pleasure, man.
Always.
Always a
So,
pleasure.
on behalf of the panel tonight, this has been the original Next Level Gaming podcast. We hope you had a wonderful weekend. Have a great week. And as always, play on, gamers.